Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation. This is your host, Lorraine Ball, and this is another episode of What Went Wrong. Now, if you've been following the series, you know that these are normally interviews where I talk to other people about their mistakes, what they learned, what they would do differently. And I thought it was about time I got a little bit introspective and talked about where I screwed up. And so today's What Went Wrong is a look at what went wrong with more than a few words. Now, you're probably thinking, well, you've been doing it for 15 years. How bad could this mistake be? Let me tell you, it's a doozy. You see, I started More Than a Few Words thinking about it as a marketing conversation for business owners. Why? Because I was running an agency and I was working with business owners. I was working with roofers and flooring contractors and home service professionals. That was my bread and butter. And so I thought, well, I'll do a marketing podcast. I'll get some leads. It'll be great. Well, the podcast was fun and it was great. And we had an audience, just not my customers. Because you see, More Than a Few Words was never for small business owners. It was too techy. It was too in the weeds. They were marketing conversations with friends and peers about marketing. And the truth is that my real customers, the small business owners, didn't have time for that. And they weren't really interested. That's why they were hiring me. And so the podcast was fun, but it never drove any business. When I sold Round Peg, I kept the podcast because it was fun and I still enjoyed it and I had an audience. And I kept referring to it as a marketing conversation for business owners. But it still wasn't. And so I had this epiphany in April of this year. 15 years of podcasting, and I finally figured it out. My audience isn't business owners. The content is still too deep in the weeds and occasionally too feminine leaning. And so it's time to stop pretending. More Than a Few Words isn't a generic business podcast. It's for marketing professionals and up-and-coming marketers. It's for women who are building businesses around their marketing knowledge, and for those who geek out over strategy and still worry that they're missing something. And so I figured out it was time to stop hiding behind vague definitions and really own my audience. My customer is someone with a marketing degree and maybe spent time in corporate roles, but now they're out on their own, coaching small businesses and startups, smart, scrappy, and knowledgeable, but every now and then wonders, am I in over my head a little bit? Is it really supposed to work this way? And so my listeners come to me because they want inspiration and real stories, shifting my emphasis to focus on what works, what went wrong, not the theory, but conversations that pull back the curtain and lean into the missteps and not just the wins. So that's who I'm talking to. It's only taken me 15 years to figure out that that's where I need to be. If that sounds like a program that makes sense to you, I hope you'll subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And join me over on Substack. I'm starting an experiment to build a community there. If you're looking for more marketing tips, missteps, and lessons learned along the way, be sure to look for More Than a Few Words wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.